Hello everyone, in this video I wanted to show you which kind of software I'm using for recording the Minecraft videos or just in general any kind of videos I'm doing on the PC. And yeah, first of all I am most of the time using Dxtory as a recording program. Most of you will already know it, and especially under the ones who already try to make some videos on their own, it's probably very common because it is not the cheapest, but definitely the recording software with the most features, and in my opinion it's also the best one for recording games like Minecraft. Actually, let's just directly start it, and I will show you why I like this one so much. I'm currently actually not recording this with Dxtory as well, since the only thing that Dxtory can't do, and for this one I'm using Open Broadcaster, is recording the desktop. Point is that the Open Broadcaster program, which is perfect for recording desktop, is for free, so it doesn't matter. And let's get started. So in the first tab here, I'm just going to explain you in general now how Dxtory works, and meanwhile say why it's better than other softwares. So over here you will see software it's targeting. So for example, there's currently nothing it could record, but as soon as I start Minecraft, this process will show up here, and it notices that there is some OpenGL involved, and you can actually record Minecraft with it. I'm not going to do this now, obviously. Then in the second tab, this is also customizable in most other video editing software, where you want to have this FPS bar, or if you want to have it at all, and the record status. So it turns yellow usually on default when you start recording, so that you know this. But it's all self-explanatory, not too complicated. Over here we got the first important feature, which is better than in most other softwares, and that is the folders you can specify. First of all, there's an already built-in speed test, so you can check whether which is the best folders to record something. And in general, 100 megabytes per second is definitely enough for full HD videos, but I used to record 720p on a hard drive which could only write 25 megabytes per second. So actually for low frame rate or not full HD 60 FPS videos, it usually doesn't matter that much. But the interesting fact is, since you can specify several hardwares, you can actually, for example, record on different disks. And if the first one runs full, it will automatically select the next one. This is the advantage which it has over several other programs. So if you have several small disks, you can use this, and it will automatically split the video footage and save it on both. So let's see. You can add, I don't know how many folders, but enough. Then the next thing is just the hotkeys. Well, there is one for a screenshot and one for stop movie capture. And well, it's also not complicated or anything I would have to explain. But over here it gets interesting. So this is the video settings. I am using the Dxtory video codec. I like it a lot. You can also use the Xory lossless codec, and if you first open up Dxtory, you won't find it in your Dxtory as a selection here, as well as some of the other codecs here. The reason for this is that you can simply install any kind of codec. So I will link you to this one in the video description, because it's also a very good alternative for recording videos. And I would actually just say you should try out both Dxtory and the Xory lossless codec and see which one gives you better frame rates, because that's I can't really decide. It also depends on which resolution you have, what kind of processor and stuff, and both are very good for recording lossless video quality on games which do require a lot of CPU power. So that's the advantage of other programs, that you can add custom codecs. And what I also added is an MPEG-4 codec. This one here will automatically compress the video footage you have to a small MPEG format. And if you open up this button here, you can go to the settings, and besides some other stuff which you can just leave on default, there is this main thing here, and that's the bitrate. So you can say, okay, we want to have lower or higher bitrate. Why do you want to do this? Well, in case you're recording a time-lapse, which happens a lot when you do Minecraft builds, or so, that you want to record something and speed it up afterwards. It makes no sense to record this all in full lossless codec, because it's going to be several hundred gigabytes. So, like the lossless codec for full HD is around 400 gigabytes per hour, or was it 300 or something, so even on a terabyte hard drive you won't get more than 3 hours on that. Well, yeah, so use this codec and you will get very small video files. Then you can also just put it down to 10 FPS instead of 30, which will also, well, reduce the file size a lot. And then later on, since you're doing a time-lapse, the FPS number will be increased anyway. So if you speed this up by 100, you will be above 30 and will be a smooth time-lapse anyway. So just saying, I will link you to both codecs in the description. And yeah, one is very good for any kind of sped-up footage, or when you just want to record something for a long time and compress it. Obviously, it also works to record this one with 30 FPS, but it's a lot of more CPU intensive than the other codecs, so it will reduce your frame rate. Then you can specify stuff like if you want to crop your screen, but actually I don't use this at all at the moment, and well, it all is mostly self-explanatory, I guess. So I won't go over this feature since I'm not actually using it. In this tab here, there is the next interesting feature to set. So Dxtory can record several audio lines on independent audio files. So unlike most recording software, you won't get one audio out line in your video with everything mixed into it, like my voice, TeamSpeak, background music, in-game sounds, whatever. But you can separately record them. And on default, there is none of these audio settings here, and you can just click on Add and then add another audio source and select any of those available. So don't need a third one in this case. And for me, I've set it to the microphone and what I'm hearing, which is everything the sound card outputs, so all the audio lines. Now you might wonder what happens if I want to record TeamSpeak and the in-game sounds on a different audio line. Well, since they are currently not recognized as different audio inputs, so the TeamSpeak sound doesn't come from an external audio source, it is not possible without additional programs. It is possible indeed. There is a tutorial which I once looked up. I will also link you to that in the description, where someone showed how you can do this with certain audio repeater programs to actually have everything on a separate audio line. But it is a lot of work, and I believe it is a lot of unnecessary work actually, since you need to start those programs every time you're going to record and whatnot. And last but not least, you can hear TeamSpeak, in-game sounds and everything else while you're recording, and then just balance it. So for example, when you notice the explosions in the game are too loud, you can't hear the others, just lower the in-game volume. But the problem is usually you don't hear your own voice. So you can only change that after you actually record it, and well, if it's not a good setting, then you're screwed unless it's on a separate audio line so that you can raise or lower the volume independently. So for me, this already works very well, and I don't need to separate the other audio lines. For the codec, just use the highest quality of MPEG-3 or so MP3 codec and you're fine. It usually won't add a lot to your video file size, since 99% is the video and not the audio line. Yeah, and so we handled this tab now. Let's take a look at the next one. This is just screenshots, and I don't really use the screenshots, so you can skip that one. This is the advanced settings tab, and over here I can just say, well, for every PC, a different setting will be the optimal. You can just play around with those sliders or markers here, for example, for CPU processing. Works sometimes better, sometimes worse. It really depends on what kind of software you're using, how you're using it, and just try it out. I can't give a general tip if it's better to enable or disable it. That's why there's actually possible to switch it anyway, since it's sometimes better with and without. It's just try and error. There are some markers, try it out. If you're not satisfied with your frame rate, or if for some reason you're getting lag or whatever. Obviously, it won't be able to make a super slow computer into a super fast one, so you need a decent PC to run everything smoothly. But yeah, this is just to actually improve the performance even more. Just try it out. The global settings here are, well, disable print screen, snapshot, check, update. I guess I don't need to go over that. That's all obvious what they do. And then there is an information tab here. And so we went over the features of Dxtory. And so to sum it up, Why do I like it the most? First of all, since you can select the codecs, you can select the one which has the lowest CPU frame rate reducing, and therefore for me the software works with works the best. The frame rate you are recording with is completely independent from the video game frame rate. For example, I can record Minecraft at 30 FPS while the in-game is at 600 or whatever. And it also, reduces the frame rate the least, as I said, as far as I know, at least compared to Fraps in my experience. And it has this feature of recording separate audio lines and separate hard drives. That's why I like it so much. And now let's go over to the video editing software I'm using. So let me just quickly close this. And it's Sony Vegas. And yeah, you might wonder, well, what the fuck, Sony Vegas costs like 400 bucks? No. There is a Sony Vegas customer version, and that is the Platinum Studio. And over here it actually says that it costs $94. This is also wrong. If you just don't buy it from the Sony homepage, but just from every other site, just Google it on any kind of shopping site, you will get it for up $50 or something. I got it for 45 euros. And you can actually download a 30-day free trial anyway, and just saying I wasn't able to reset this timer, so it's somewhere hidden in the registry. That's why I actually bought this program, because I'm using it a lot, and it is actually really, really good. At least the best software I could get. And I did really try out all other softwares. Adobe Premiere, I tried 10 different freewares, and Magix, and Corel, there was a Corel video editing software, and a lot of other softwares, and the only one which really, or the one which worked the best, was Sony Vegas, for me. I will explain you in a short moment why. So let's actually start this up. So I'm not going to show you how to install it, you will probably be able to do this yourself, but there are a lot of tips for Sony Vegas which I just developed myself over a while, and they are not all too obvious, so I guess I can show them to you and give you some tips for the beginning. So this is how it looks like when you start it up, and since I do have two screens, there is the video preview window at the second screen at the moment. So if I'm opening up any kind of plugin, I do have all the other files on the screen here, but since I can't record, I'm not going to record both screens, I will just put this into the first one here so you can see what's going on. So what I did is I created a preset default, which so unfortunately everything is in German and I can't switch the language here, so I'll try to translate it all on the fly and tell you what the different features are doing. In Sony Vegas, first of all, it's definitely recommended to record or to make this preset, because there's a lot of stuff I changed to make everything already a lot easier. So if I'm going to drag any kind of video file into this, I can directly drag it in and it will all be perfect. So let's try it out. So hello everyone, and so you can there's already a noise reduction filter in this, and there are already some other filters on the video line which are necessary, and last but not least, I already have some other presets, for example if I want to add music and stuff, so I don't have to set this every time I'm starting a new video. And let's go over the features, what I actually set. And that is, if you're going to do a new project, let's quickly show this. This bar shows up on this video editing software, and since it doesn't allow you to set all the settings, just click on OK. You can change it. You can change what we want to change at the moment. And woohoo! Perfect example. That's the only real disadvantage of this stupid software, and that is that you need to save your work all the time. It automatically creates backups, but they are not very recent and usually do have some. So some work gets lost unless you save every minute when you do something. It doesn't take long to start, as you see, but it sometimes crashes, which is a little bit annoying. But anyway, let's get started. So I started up a new preset, and what I did is, first of all, go to settings and set those values here for YouTube's. That means we want to record, in my case, in full HD. If you are going to record in 720p, then just set this to the resolution of 720. Progressive scan and square pixels. And over here, we want to have 30 FPS and not 29.97, since we are actually going to record with 30 FPS as well. Because, yeah, it's just the best, since your usual screen resolution, screen monitor refresh rate is 60 Hz and not like 59.94 or something. And same goes for YouTube's and stuff, so the best frame rate to record with is 30 and not 29.97. That's just the standard for certain cameras, but just make sure that both is at the same, and I recommend you to just use 30. So, next thing to do, we don't need any 3D stereoscopic modes, but since therefore I'm just disabling it. Then go to optimal render quality on full resolution, and the deinterlace method should be just interpolating or mixing fields, but it's just important if you're going to speed up footage how this looks like. Then the audio, just set it all to the highest values and you're good with it, and nothing else to set in this project settings. So I'm now going to load the preset I created, since this way I'm making sure that I didn't oversee anything. So this one. And what I did is, first of all, I created several video lines already and already made the intro at the beginning. So here you can see there's this intro, and so I don't need to drag this in every time. What is important, first of all, I rather recommend you to not put the main video line on the first line, since you're often going to, or sometimes you want to have a text or anything else on an overlay video line, and so you don't need to add another line in, but just can drag it to a line on top and it works. And secondly, there is over here, if I just opened up the track plugins, or the filters, the video file track filters I've set for this track here by clicking on this icon here, and they now show up over here. For main video line, the video track FX. So what do we have here? We got one filter currently enabled, and that's called levels. What is this doing? Well, there is a certain, I would actually call it a bug, but just certain oddity in Sony Vegas, and that is when you're going to render videos in MPEG-4 format, which is, for YouTube at least, I definitely would say the best. Then it uses the studio RGB, so the studio color space, and not the computer color space, which are slightly different, which means if I'm not applying this filter here, so this is how the footage would look normally, and with the filter it looks like a little bit grayed out, as you can see. But this is just because I need to apply this filter, because it pretty much makes the reverse effect after or when rendering. So it changes the uses studio RGB so that in the end it looks better, or it just uses this. So if I'm not going to apply this filter here on the video line, the output footage will look like the opposite. So not computer RGB in studio RGB, but studio in computer. And what happens? Well, you get a higher contrast. In some cases this might look better, but it's definitely usually unwanted. The problem is that very dark scenes get completely pitch black. So if you don't apply this filter here, you'll get, sometimes you won't be able to see anything in a video anymore when it's mostly in dark or in the night or something in Minecraft, whatever. And therefore, really put this filter in before. It just makes the recording appear as you recorded it, and not with a different contrast. So computer RGB and studio RGB is the filter you want to have, and it slightly grays out the footage. Yeah, put this on all lines you're going to add footage later on. So on this too as well, if you intend this. And so yeah, this is the first thing, which is probably not obvious. And if you wonder why this has such a weird contrast you're recording after you did it, well, this is the reason. After you rendered it, I mean. Okay, then the next setting, the microphone. This is probably the most complicated one. So, I do have a problem that my microphone is not actually the very highest quality thing, and even better microphones do have the problem that they always create noise. So there is not a really good noise filter implemented into Sony Vegas from default, because there's an extra program called SoundForge made by Sony, which is compatible with Sony Vegas, and well, in there are a lot of different noise filters and stuff, but it's not for free. It costs like 60 bucks, or I don't know how many actually, extra, and no one wants to pay that. But you can actually download custom filters from the internet, and there is, after long searching, I actually found a proper noise reduction filter as well. And this is what I'm using. So, let me just drag this out a little bit longer. On this line here you see a lot of filters. There is track noise gate, track equalizer, track compressor, express FX, graphic equalizer, levels, and paragraphic equalizer, and another express FX graphics equalizer. The first three are actually doing nothing. They are just the default equalizers which are on every track. So on this track, for example, there are also those three equalizers. They are just there on default, and I just didn't change it so far. This one is important because the filter I'm actually using, I imported this from the internet. It reduces noise which is below a certain volume. And it was really difficult to set this up properly, but I set it up so that it doesn't cancel out or reduce my speech quality, but reduces the white noise in the background. And it might be needed to adjust this filter. What I just guess, I would just show you the download link to this one and also the preset I saved for this, and you can just take it over. The point is that it will only reduce noise, and I probably need to show this in some kind of example. Let's see if I find a good... Yeah, this is probably a good example here. So let's go to the beginning. As you can see, there is... let's actually disable this first. 1 sec. Okay. When I now play the first second of this footage here, you will hear noise in the video line, or hopefully. Yeah, you can hear it. It's actually pretty noisy. So if I lower this volume now, there's a certain volume at which the noise completely gets cancelled out. That's what I set with the other filter, and I had this for another setting, and it's around at minus 20 decibels. So if I go to, let's say, minus 18, it's still there, it's just a little bit quieter. Which I can show you by raising the volume afterwards again. You can still hear it, it sounds a little bit different. But at minus 24 it's completely gone. And the reason for this is that, at this value the noise for me goes below the threshold where it completely gets cancelled out. So, if you have more or less noise, you just need to adjust this until you hear nothing. Obviously, everything gets 24 decibels more quiet this way. So after that, this filter here is applied. This one actually is a paragraphic equalizer which cancels out certain frequencies, my graphics card, or I don't know what actually is causing them, but there's like a certain tone at 495 Hz, which is always in my microphone line, which I had to cancel out, but you won't need this since this is a very specific problem with my PC. So you just need to put down the volume until the devil's filter cancels out the noise. And after that, just raise the volume again at around the same value. So I increase it at 20 decibel. And so to hear the difference, this is how it sounds like with the noise cancelling. So, hello everyone. And we are currently... Yeah, and I don't know where this plop sound came from, but... let's put this on another line. Let's hear the difference. So, hello. Yeah, there is always this noise. So, hello. And I actually also set the equalizer so that there's a little bit... So, hello everyone. And a little bit more bass in the line. But in general, the noise is cancelled out. We are currently testing them. And... over here, there would be noise. So that's how I work with this filter here, and as I said, it's for free. That's why I'm not using any kind of other audio filter. It's a little bit difficult to set up, but I will provide everything in the download if someone wants to use the same software. So now you might wonder, well, why am I using Sony Vegas if there's like the problem with some crashes and so different to set up audio filters? The reason is mainly because it's the only program which supports several independent audio lines. It really is. So let's try to find something which actually has content in both lines. Yeah. Over here, this footage, someone else is talking. It's probably first me and then Doc. Yeah, some people are laughing in here. And all the other softwares only detect the first audio lines and not the second one. So like Adobe Premiere or whatever, and to import the second one you need to right click on the footage and then just click on import audio and then compile it all together instead of just simply dragging and dropping the files into your program, and then you will be able to cut out each individual line. So this is the reason. It just works a lot better with Dxtory's feature of recording multiple audio lines at the same time. And this reason is so important that that's pretty much the main reason. And there are other reasons, and that is the workflow is very cool. So for example, to speed up a footage, just click on Control and drag the footage smaller, and it will all be sped up. And to just cut it without speeding it up, you can, without pressing Control, make them shorter here. It's actually, most of those features are available in every professional video editing program. I'm not going to ignore the event grouping at the moment. So you can see, I can either move them all independently, and I'm not going to show you all the other stuff or the other effects or whatever I'm using now, but since I wanted to keep this short, but this is the important thing. Microphone and the filter for the video lines. That is probably the most common mistakes, or not mistakes, but at least the video filter mistakes. I often see videos where people forget to apply this filter and then the footage looks very dark with a too bright contrast. Is there anything else to say? No, most of it is also very self-explanatory. The music, for example, I just had 2 audio lines for louder music and lower music, so I just can drag any kind of music in there. But there's nothing else beside, obviously, what kind of rendering settings do I use. And here we go. I'm using the MP4 format. This is the recommended one by YouTube, and the point is it usually gives you the best quality at a certain bitrate. And since most of you people don't have a gigabit internet, it does matter which kind of codec you're using and which kind of bitrate the video has, because it just sucks to wait for hours till the video is uploaded. So you're going to find the best settings which are possible. And that is, let's go to this one. This is a preset I made, so with the MPEG standard. And first of all, full HD. If you don't have good internet or full HD monitor, just 720p, then the baseline profile and the 30 FPS 0.00, not 29.97 or anything. And then you can do 2-pass filtering here on the bitrate settings, which for me, do not recommend on normal videos, because it just takes twice as long to get a tiny bit better quality into the same bitrate. Since YouTube is reprocessing it usually anyway, you can just instead choose a slightly higher bitrate, and then it will be not taking so long. And it also depends if you have a really slow internet but a really fast PC. You can do 2-pass rendering to get the most quality into a certain bitrate, and then it doesn't take that long to upload. If you have a really slow PC but a really fast internet, definitely don't do this. I just saying that the quality improvement is not so much, but it takes twice as long to render. Then the bitrate. What kind of bitrate do we want? So YouTube reprocesses full HD videos to 8K-bit and 720 videos to 5, which means it rarely makes sense to go over it. I do have a maximum bitrate of 10, but the average of 8 since, well, it reprocesses it, so some more quality gets lost at the second try, and as well as there is, yeah, it's just better to go a slightly bit higher, but don't go way higher. It just doesn't make sense. It just takes more time to upload the footage. If you go below 8, it will obviously look worse. And for 720p, it doesn't make sense to go over 6. And usually, just saying 8 million kilobits or 8 million bits per second is not a very high bitrate for a full HD video. And you often see this in videos that, yeah, you just get those artifacts. This is just because it's still internet stream and YouTube just wants to limit its server bandwidth the server needs to have. And therefore, if you're not going to upload this to YouTube but just make a video for yourself, I would rather actually use at least twice the amount, or actually up to 32K. Because then it looks really like original footage. There's a huge difference if you directly watch a YouTube video compared to your lossless codec recordings. They look so much clearer, but they are 400 gigabytes per hour, so you can't upload it, obviously. But if you go to like 30K bitrate, it will almost be lossless, so the difference will be hardly visible, but still way smaller than any lossless codec. The audio line over here, you don't need to go over 128 kilobits for the audio line, since YouTube doesn't actually support higher audio codec lines. Even on full HD videos it's not higher, since it's not a music sharing site, obviously, and well, you can hear the difference, but it doesn't make sense since it gets reprocessed to this anyway. Yeah, other than that, yeah, one thing to add, if you're not going to use MP4, so for example, if you wanna record or export in Windows Media video, usually it takes longer to process and stuff, because it's not, the rendering itself is not that multi-threaded, so it can't use all your threads on the PC and stuff. But then you don't need to apply this gamma filter, which changes from studio to computer RGB, or the other way around. It's only necessary for the MPEG format here, so keep that in mind. And yeah, that's actually all I wanted to say. I rambled a bit maybe, but I just wanted to show this once, since I actually got some people asking me how I'm doing this, and yeah, now I responded this once and for all. And it's also really helpful to have several video lines over here. This is several screens over here. This is the open broadcaster, so you have a screen of the screen of the screen, hooray, and you get some interesting effects here. Yeah, to have more space to work with videos, but beside that, thanks for watching. I hope you could use some of those tips here if you are going to record more videos in the future, and see you next